Are you ready for the
Huh?
coziest episode that ever did coz?
Put on some smooth jazz.
Some
Take
real
your feet up.
R&B shit.
Grab some wine.
We all got gold chains.
And listen to the unpaid nobodies.
We all got candles. Like,
this one's for you, lady.
what if we had, dude? We should have gotten like 1,000 roses, like, and just like put it behind us.
We can make some effects.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Welcome everybody.
Hey everybody. How are you guys? How's everyone doing? It's been a pretty good week for all of us, I'd say.
Yeah, we've been living, chilling. What you guys been up to?
Just enjoying this last week of Switch Up September, even though it is now October.
Right.
Yeah, we will start doing this earlier in the month when we realize it's a theme month that we do every year.
It's true. We didn't put a title on it until like
we didn't realize we were doing it until after we posted the Riot Fest episode. Like,
we make mistakes. It's okay. It was timing. It was all about the timing. You have to wait for Riot Fest.
This was a good batch of episodes, though.
This was a very good batch of episodes.
This was a good batch of listens, I'd say.
And I wanted to point that out again. Jasper, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think I'll ever listen to Pink Floyd and just like be able to experience it. But I appreciate it. That was a really good album.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Once again.
All right. I do think this album is kind of marginal. Unlike it doesn't, because I listen to a lot of R&B.
Mm-hmm.
I missed Daniel Caesar. This is the first time I've listened to a full album. I've heard like songs before.
I'm glad I was able to finally like
force you did it. And it was like, okay. So like I think this album's inbounds, but like like as far as genres, I think it was interesting because like this one I'm like very comfortable with R&B as a genre.
Oh yeah, but for those who do not or haven't picked up on it, we will be doing for September Switch Up. We'll be doing my episode within R&B, a deep dive within Freudian by Daniel Caesar. But we're gonna get into that. And Jasper, I'm really wanting to know your thoughts. So let's start off with the news. If I'm being honest, a little disclosure: we are recording early this week.
Yeah, we're recording a little early. So like any Thursday announcements, we'll talk about it next week. It's fine.
We'll bring it up later. You'll live. You'll find out by another fucking hour. Yeah. But the biggest news that is supposed to be coming up.
I don't know.
If it happens,
I have like a weird feeling. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I agree. I honestly don't think it's gonna happen just because he hasn't been promoting.
Oh, we're talking about Drake for All the Dogs.
Yes. It was pushed back to the 6th.
He slimed us out, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Like
even sliming us out, I was not appreciating it at all.
We're like, no, sir, don't slime me out. Like
Holly Berry didn't even approve this photo.
Good thing she didn't have to.
Yeah, he didn't actually make it an official cover, I guess. But yeah, we have Drake coming out for All the Dogs. Hope we get that.
The streaming release of Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist, Void Year.
Finally, prayers are answered.
I hear it's album of the year quality, and I don't doubt it. I just was not going to participate in anything NFT related because I don't like to click that many links.
I will be fighting that power. I do not want to partake in whatever that is.
Leave me be.
I texted you today about for the first time, like probably ever. I text Brandon. I was just like, ever have that sudden urge to just like bomb a building? Just like, this is how I feel fighting against the NFT powers. Just gonna want to fight back.
I was like, who are you talking to?
But yeah, we finally had the official release of that, and then we have a couple singles I wanted to bring up. These are actually singles that came out over the week. We had Lil Yachty and J. Cole release a YouTube video called The Secret Recipe. Both of them snapped. Went crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy ass song. Yes. I don't know. I think I didn't love the Lil Yachty verse. I didn't think it was bad. Like I don't think it was bad by any stretch. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then Cole comes in and it's just like, oh my god,
it's J. Cole. It's a feature from J. Cole.
It's a J. Cole feature, and he brings it. It's like a 32 bar verse.
Yeah, he put everything into it.
God.
Apparently some people were saying it's a shot at some other artists, but I don't know. We'll see.
A shot at
NBA YoungBoy.
Oh yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
He's going at the young kids again. First it was Little Pump. Now it's NBA YoungBoy.
Scorched Earth. Dude, do you remember 1985?
Yep, that
Dude,
was
that was a fun time.
tough.
1985, I arrive.
That was really, really tough for the young rappers because they can't respond to that.
No, how do you even like pretend like even attempt to
You
fuck
ignore it
with
and
Jason Cole, right? Like
Jimothy Cole.
Jermaine.
I hate both of you.
Cole, like,
But yeah,
Jamiroquai Jones.
I'm gonna kill you. Are you done?
No.
You can say like Jacquees Cole or something like.
Colson J.
Okay, there it is. Thank you.
You get one every episode. You get one every episode.
You wasted it. Let's be honest.
No, I didn't.
We also have J Rock is coming out with his Ambition freestyle. I did see it on YouTube. It's a very short video, but I'm excited for that full song to come out and the album. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with TDE and not letting artists release music?
Yeah, I agree.
That's not very TD of them.
No.
Man, that's your one pun.
Yeah.
We also have on the exact opposite side of the spectrum someone who never stops releasing music. We have Little Uzi did drop NFL.
Literally
Never
addicted.
Fall in Love.
Literally
has
addicted
anyone-
to dropping music.
Has anyone seen the video? I watched it today.
Is he though? Because didn't we wait a really long time before Pink Tape? Wasn't like
suppose.
almost pretty much 3 years, with the exception of like 2 singles.
Was there only 2 singles?
Didn't we get
It was
the
Just
Red
Wanna
and
Rock.
White? We got the
and
Red and
then-
White EP last year.
Oh yeah, we did. That is true.
Did I completely miss that?
We've 100% talked about this. I told you about this EP before, and you said, "Did I miss that?" And you didn't go back.
I did miss it. God damn it.
Yeah.
I recognized the cover art, but it just completely was not recommended, flew completely under the radar for me. So I'm gonna actually go back and listen to this shit now.
Yeah.
Deep
I
dive?
actually-
No, I'm just
Yeah. No, I'm okay.
kidding.
Little
We did on one deep dive. this year already.
Lucifer, the devil. Like,
Okay.
You didn't have to
He
do
talks about-
Purvis's, you didn't have to do Purvis's parents like that.
I would say that.
Little Lucifer.
Facts.
Have you ever
Forget
said
everyone
it
else.
with a belly full of bourbon and a cigarette in your mouth? It sounds like Lucifer. Like,
He actually talks about being a Satan in the song, believe it or
yeah,
not.
well, so does everyone who struggles to have a personality. Like,
Once
All of our
Lil Nas and Mischief did the Satan shoes, everybody was on that, and it's just been that way ever since.
Oh,
Feels
Jesus, don't remind me of that.
yeah, it's like the
go
gay
back.
man wore red, kill him. Like,
Yeah, it's like, what if there was a whole lot of red?
Yeah, literally, as though he didn't get enough attention already. You're the gay man in the country genre. Just like,
yeah,
you're already getting enough old white man attacking you.
Those shoes go hard though.
no,
Yeah, they're all right. They're all right.
they had actual human blood in them.
Yeah, you saw the holy water ones too, right?
The holy water ones, I don't know anything
See,
about
these
that.
didn't get any coverage, but before the Satan shoe dropped, Mischief made the opposite. It was an all white angelic pair of 97s filled with holy water.
And that was for Nas?
What's up?
It was for Lil Nas X?
No, it was just they did it themselves, just straight up. And it was actually reviewed by Unbox Therapy, who's like one of the most popular tech gadget YouTubers. And he like tried them on, did a whole thing. It's a good video. Check it out.
I'm going to have to look that up. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and that's the thing is like people just didn't have any context for like, oh, they did an angel pair. Now they're doing a devil pair. But like it was like a whole dual pack
I
type
was going to
thing.
say,
Well,
the thing is you need an artist to promote it nowadays, so.
Yeah, facts.
But going on from that, we also have some Brockhampton members are back. We have
Wow,
Kevin
yeah.
Abstract dropping a single. We have Merlin Woods dropping a single. Yeah, we got our little boys. They're back.
the boys are back.
are.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yes.
I wonder how it's gonna be. I mean, Kevin is kind of like a known quantity.
That's
Like, I
true.
think he's gonna be just fine. I have a feeling.
It's
like,
already established.
I routinely like his songs already, so it's on the list. Merlin though, I don't know. He's the one that I'm like, is it gonna happen? Is it not? You know, Dom released some music earlier this summer that I really liked actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me know when Bareface releases something.
I'm very
then
excited for Bareface.
I'll be there for
Bareface
that.
He's the least hip hop of all of them.
He is the least hip hop. It's true.
Yeah.
I need some singing in my life.
All right. But yeah, so that is all the releases, but we got a good amount of news, including threats. Like
No. Jasper, you get to announce this.
Announce
this in a positive light. Do not let him tear it down.
I will say it was taken out of context a little bit. Kid Cudi came out on X, as it's known, and basically info dumped a whole lot about the new album, Insano. So he said that the base album itself, including, I think he said all of the extras. I have to go find the tweet.
But including
all bonuses or extra tracks, in total, the project, the full collection, is about 40 songs, which is a lot. It's a ton. But I could see, I see it realistically, the main release being about the same length as Indicud, which is what, 17
or
17,
so? 18 or something.
And he tends to do a lot of albums that sit around the hour and a half, hour 20 mark. So I could definitely see it being kind of in line with that structure. Something I'm a little more excited about than just some more information on the album we're waiting for until next year is Cudi announced the return of Cutter's Clubhouse, which is a kind of like small show series where he travels to different cities, not an official tour. He travels to different cities, does some smaller venues, and plays some of his lesser known music. And he's already said that he's going to perform a couple things off Speed and Bullet. You know, how we all feel about that is obviously mixed, whatever, to say the least. But he also announced tracks from Wizard, or WZRD, which I am extremely excited for.
I do love Wizard. I do love Wizard. Wizard is very good.
If I
see Kid Cudi perform "Teleport to Me, Jamie" live, I will start floating.
That song is incredible.
It is beyond my control. I will levitate.
That is a truly wonderful song. I'll give you that. I will give you that. Wizard's just a great album.
It's like that, and seeing Father Stretch My Hands live, which is just like absolute floating.
Yeah, that would be nice.
He also mentioned playing some more, I guess, deeper cuts off some other albums. I personally hope that he does some off of Passion Pain that are, I think, underrated, like Kitchen. Love that song. Want to see it live again. And yeah, he's just kind of going in the bag and pulling stuff out that he doesn't do as part of a set list. And I think that's super interesting. I'm excited for that Chicago date. The New York tickets go on sale tomorrow around, I think it's noon Eastern. And then that show is either sometime the following week or 2 weeks from now.
Interesting.
You said this is the return of the Clubhouse. When did this even exist?
I have to double check. I think it was before he went to rehab, maybe like 2015. Let me see.
Jesus.
Apparently there's a podcast by the same name. I don't know if it's official. I kind of doubt it.
That's fair.
Oh, here's the tweet. So he said, Clutter's Clubhouse is back. So it existed prior. I'll be doing intimate shows starting in New York next week, rolling through my entire discography, performing songs I had never have before, and a sneak peek of more Insano, with some special guests here and there as well. Even Speed and Bullet and Wizard jams.
Hey, I'll take it then.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
It's not expensive.
I always really appreciate like when artists do songs they don't usually do live.
Love it in theory.
As a spoiler for a subject coming a little later, it's really nice to see. But it can not always, even with the best intentions, like it can wind up being kind of a sloppy performance.
Yeah. I'm just super curious what the venue choices are going to be like for something and how small we're talking, because can you imagine like Kid Cudi at Subterranean?
Sub T would be insane.
And an unbelievable experience that would be.
Yeah, I love Sub T so much.
Is that bigger than United Center? Why not just United Center?
No, he said small.
He's doing small venues, like intimate shows.
Is like very small. Right. Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Maybe like 15 feet wide and then like 40 feet long.
It's like it's maybe a little bit smaller than where we saw Absol.
It's smaller than that. It's real narrow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's a cool spot. It's right in Wicker Park. I could see him doing that. I could see him doing the Biograph potentially, like or in that area, or I could see even like Metro.
Yeah. I think Metro is basically as big as you get, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sounds cool, but I don't know. I just am very like he says okay with all the extras.
Mm-hmm.
But like we know now that like those extras are things he's cognitively deciding to release
already going to be dropped
before the release, right? Because like as far as I know, sometimes I don't have any like data or anything to back this up, but it seems like with a lot of deluxes, it's stuff that just didn't make it onto the album, right? So this seems like, you know, whatever number of songs like is that didn't make it onto the album, it feels like he trimmed it down to this 40. So like, yeah, like it's with all the extras and everything, but like he's telling us about the extras now. So like, I don't think
it should be an afterthought.
You know, it's not like he gets slack for putting out a decent 20 songs and 20 songs of bullshit. You know, like because
he's not Bob Dylan like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, and that's the other thing is that like I definitely wonder about Kid Cudi's ability to pull off an album that long, because like, you know, it's gonna be 40 songs, and like I think even incredible artists, you know, struggle with like filling that much music.
Yeah, look at the Blueprint too.
Yeah, look at the Blueprint too. I mean, like, and the other thing is that like he also isn't even calling it like a double album, which like which is like interesting to me, because like if I heard double album, I would at least be like, oh, maybe there's like a theme here, maybe he's doing something, maybe there is some kind of concept built into the album that justifies its length a little bit, right? But like, and that could be there. That definitely could be there. Like I definitely don't want to say that that's definitely not there. But like, there's no evidence to support that at this point. Whereas like, you know, if it was a double album, that would be like a piece of evidence you could support, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know? It's interesting because I think about Cudi, right? And I think about how, you know, Man on the Moon 1 is just such a great kind of concept album, right? But then from there, they become less and less, I guess, direct in that approach. And I think that they really start to lose like the concept album approach. Even for like Man on the Moon 3, I don't think is very direct in that way. So like I'm curious if this is going to be something that's like that, where it's got like a little bit more of like a narrative to it, or if he's just going to be putting stuff out, you know.
And like,
I'm curious.
And full stop, like I don't think you need a narrative for an album to be good.
No.
I don't think you need a narrative for like an album to be long. But I think when you're talking about 40 whole ass songs,
yeah,
right,
you know, like a narrative is like, it would be foolish, to not put something in here to anchor this album, you know?
That was gonna be
otherwise. What's the difference between this and Chris Brown? You know, like
that is true. That was going to be my exact point, because like the fact that it's already jumping to be focused on like the deluxe version, I feel like the original version is going to be lost. What's actually meant to be the album isn't even going to be able to be present, knowing that I know that there's 40 songs in total. Like, I feel like his albums in the past, I need at least 15 solid songs to be like, this is what it's about. And then there might be a few extra ones. I feel like if you can't cut down below 40, you're not going to have any type of theme or subject or anything like that. It's going to be 40 songs.
Yeah. And like, you know, there's also the elephant in the room of streaming, where it's like, you know, I think a lot of people are putting out these massive albums because they have a economic incentive to do like lots of albums that are lots of tracks on an album that are very short, right? That's what the Spotify algorithm fucking loves, right? And like, listen, we won't know if that's the case until we get the album, but like, that's also a factor here, you know.
It makes me worry. I don't want a playlist of ideas. I want an album.
Facts. I hope we get Portia topless 40 times in a row, each time just a little bit faster than the time before it.
1 beat per minute faster.
Oh God.
Anyway.
What does that look like by the end of it?
I don't
What
even want to know.
what does Portiatopolis plus
It's
40
pitched up
BPM
a
sound
half
like?
step. Like it's
Chipmunk's
not
soul is back. Let's go.
like,
By the end, it's just gonna be a fucking 30-second song. Just fly through it.
Oh my God.
But anyway, enough about Kid Cudi.
yeah.
Moving
It's
on,
just
we
Goodworth.
also right. No, we're not gonna do this for Kid Cudi too. Moving on to Childish Gambino, the one, the GOAT, the only. He had
weird boy goat.
weird. Yes, absolutely. Weird.
Big day for weird people.
Yeah, it's like huge day. I remember I saw this thing. It was like Phoebe Bridgers and Bo Burnham were dating.
I saw
and it
that.
was like
Huge day for annoying
a
people.
huge day for annoying people.
It's appropriate.
Real.
Yeah,
Literally.
was it Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? It's like, wow, huge day for white 20-year-olds. Like,
Dude, fucking NFL has been soaking that up. Jesus Christ.
yeah. But yeah,
But,
no, Donald Glover came out of his time portal or wherever he lives and had an interview. Like,
Gave a whole interview to Complex, covered a lot of different subjects. The most important thing that we want to cover, obviously, is music related. And he did, I don't know if you want to say tease, but he did say that we'll be finding out the next vision or the direction of his career musically sooner rather than later. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too sure how I feel about that.
yeah, I don't know what that
Scares
means.
me. And coming from him, that can mean anything.
Yeah,
I'm not holding my breath for this, to be honest.
yeah, I'm not necessarily holding my breath either, but at the same time, like, I don't know, he's got to be doing something.
I just feel like he's one of those people that would say that, and then the whole time he just drops a movie, and he's just like, "Yeah, you found out sooner than later. I'm not doing music." I'm like, bro, say that.
He's gonna drop a movie and he's gonna do the soundtrack for it, and that's gonna be his music contribution.
There it is.
No,
And it's gonna go number one.
I think he's working on a movie for Amazon right now.
Okay, well, just
yeah, he's working on
At
a
that
movie.
point,
Yeah, he's working on a movie for Amazon right now. And like earlier in the year, he said something was coming. So like, I don't know. It just feels like punting the ball a little bit. Like these don't exactly excite me, but like, I don't know. Like Childish Gambino is just like one of those artists who, like, even though I don't love everything he's put out, especially like his older stuff, but including his most recent project, he's just
the numbers.
Yeah, the weird endless.
can we call it that from now on?
I don't hate that.
I've been calling it the numbers.
Yeah.
What do they mean, Mason?
Literally, I was gonna finish it. Anyone who doesn't play Call of Duty is gonna be like, "What are they talking about?"
Oh my god! But yeah, no, none of his albums ever burnt me. So it's like I'm still yearning for it.
I will say, I'm not like I love a lot of his stuff, but it's been so long, and I just like.
Has it though?
It feels like it's been a really long time. I mean,
it's been 3 years since.
I mean, I'm talking like because the internet era Gambino as like being, if he's returning to music, I would like something adjacent to that in terms of style. I know I'm not going to get it, but it's
Do you
just like
Awaken My Love?
I do like it, but I just think it's such a fundamentally different project in so many ways that it doesn't even. To me, it's not even reminiscent of what I associate with Gambino at all. It's like, it's just like, it feels like it's a different artist. It's Donald Glover putting on another persona, even more different.
Yeah.
Just under the same name.
I mean, yeah, I can't hate that take because that's definitely true. And like it does kind of make you wonder, like, why did he even do this under Childish Gambino?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a weird, like, because the internet's my favorite of his projects too. But like, I do feel like it's kind of like a weird, like, drawing the line there. When, like, you know, it's one thing when it's Chance and he's released like one project that was like, you know, antimatter, like,
Yeah.
but it's just like, no, this guy released one disappointing project that, like, you know, I would still rather listen to than 90% of music. You know, not 99 like the rest of his albums, but like low-key 90. Like,
I don't know. It just for me it didn't feel that the Numbers album feels so just like hollow. You know, it doesn't feel like there's any actual of like the
There's no
excitement
substance.
or the passion or like the substance that makes the other albums feel impactful in that way. It felt like it was because that's the thing too. The tour I think kind of ruined it for me because he released Algorithm and then one other song adjacent to the tour. It came out feeling like a soundtrack because it dropped right after the tour happened, and it was like these are tracks that were already like done and sampled live or whatever it was that he was doing with them. And it just I don't know, it makes me feel like the last true Childish Gambino album really is because of the internet, and it's been 10 years, and it's just like I'm not gonna hold my breath just because I know it's not what I'm gonna get, but it's just like that's what I would really like to see. So I'm like not necessarily looking forward to something new because I know it's not what I'm really looking for fundamentally. It can still be great, I don't doubt it, but it's just like I am excited for a certain thing that I know is not going to happen.
I'm actually curious though because you just mentioned it briefly. It's been 10 years. So December 10th is going to be the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Is there any chance, do you guys think will he be doing anything to either celebrate it, whether it be because of the internet, or do you think it'll be new music?
I'm not sure.
Maybe he does like a retrospective where he puts out like a behind the scenes or something of like the making of the album. That seems like a very Donald Glover thing to do.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got to address it or do something. Like 10 years, like that's a big accomplishment.
I mean,
it's
I would
like,
hope, but
it's like he said on Oldest Computer, right? It's like that camp was a million years ago. Sing me a different song. Like, come on, let's put something out. Let's and honestly, if he's gonna drop anything right now, the only thing he can drop like the Nasdaq is Atlanta season 5. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I don't know. I just still have energy for him. Right? Like I think it's still just like one disappointing album at the end of the day. Right? Like it's not there are a lot of artists who have come back from a lot worse.
No, definitely.
You know, like
yeah. I mean
some we've talked about today. Like so that's just how I feel about that. Purvis, what about you? How do you feel about this?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what to expect from Childish Gambino nowadays, just because he's being pulled in so many different directions. I would actually like a 10-year anniversary, just like Acid Rap. I would love that. And I would also be okay with new music, even if it's not that good. I just need something new to digest and dive into because I feel like he's one of the very few people, forget about the artist aspect, very few people that it is just enjoyable to dive into their mind and how they think. Yeah. Regardless what he puts out in what media source, anything that this man has made, it at least has grabbed my attention long enough to be like, this is cool. So I will take literally anything.
Yeah.
That's true. I just realized the word I would use to describe Awaken My Love is bittersweet because it is such a good standalone project, but at the same time it makes me reminiscent for classic Gambino, like that between Camp Because the Internet era and like the release of Because the Internet, and just like what a moment that was, and that style and that flair and substance, having that back. And I was just like Awaken My Love is great and it's a really good album, but it just makes me wish I had more of that other secret sauce.
I just don't think you can ever get that back, though. I think like
no,
because
you're
the
right,
internet was like very dependent on when it came out. Like it was, you know, it's one of those pieces of art that like has aged so well, like almost to the point where it's like I don't know, like on one end, like I almost see like why he's gone in such a different direction because like how do you
top that?
How do you top it, right? Because like I get that it wasn't like the most well-reviewed album in the world, but like as far as what he was doing with, first off, like I think that album is going to get a massive retrospective in the next 5 years.
I hope so.
You know, well, because everyone I actually know in real life loves that album. Like that is like one of the most well-liked albums that's come out in my lifetime. But I don't think it's gotten quite the respect it deserves. So I'd love to see something from the 10-year, and I would love to see him return to the form. I don't know. I guess like even at the time, I realized that was like a futile behavior, like a futile like desire.
Totally.
It's just like,
yeah.
Not to like sound fake Zen, but you just kind of have to let it go.
No, I know.
And, like,
it's also like it's so interesting because it's the cross section of like he's still rapping, but he's dropped all the really kind of silly bars and like the braggadocious stuff, and is just focused on something bigger, And it's like that sweet spot of like content and delivery was just like so nice to see.
Yeah.
And it's like I would love to just
Yeah,
have more of that, because we don't need another cul-de-sac, and we're not going to get that, and we also don't necessarily need more just instrumental stuff, or mostly instrumental stuff that we've got on other projects.
One of the few rappers that everyone actually listened to.
Can really rap and yet doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
The last bit of like news that's going to be coming out is just a foreshadow for next week. We have Offset coming out with this album releasing for the 13th, and also Westside Gunn's album is releasing for the 13th, and we do have track lists for both of them.
I'm
a
so
lot of
excited.
dope features. It's going to be a good weekend.
Dude, I just want to say one thing. Like, Westside Gunn, if you're watching this, Alvin, look at me. Like,
man called him by his government name.
Like,
no shot.
Imagine being hard and your name is Alvin.
Like,
no way.
Just give Stove
I'm
God
shocked
Cooks.
you even know that.
Yeah, just give Stove God Cooks an album. He's on like he's like featured on everything. I'm like, listen, I love Stove God Cooks. This is not like a bad thing. It's like if Jid had like J. Cole. It's like if J. Cole had Jid on like every album song on like his last album.
And Jid is
but it's like just give Jid an album. Like,
give him his own forever story.
The forever story.
Honestly, he deserves that treatment.
but yeah, no. This is speaking of Jid. He's on the Westside Gunn album. Conway.
Could be insane.
The RZA's producing a song. Fucking Denzel Curry, Ultra Griselda. I'm so excited. I am so excited. I looked at that, not an iota of sound, and I'm like, track of the year. Like,
I was about to say, I already know this is going to be my top 5. I already know it's in my top 5.
Ultra Griselda.
This is the most Kanye fan moment I have ever seen out of both of you.
Yeah.
It's like that old meme,
top
like
5.
Kanye released a blank project, tells his fans to imagine the music, and they're like, I hear it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If Westside Gunn did that, I would be like, like,
so you like made ad libs. This is like, okay, I got you,
dude. I am waiting
all
for the
in
chance to make my own Griselda album. I have a name and everything.
I'm upset because you actually do. Like, you literally
if you think about it, you release it, you make a bunch of money, you'll be a Grisillionaire.
God bless it. Okay.
You're gonna have to explain this to my mother and Rachel when I kill myself. Like,
I'll be featured in your suicide note. It'll be like feet me.
This was Jasper. That's all it says. Like,
you are my 13th reason why.
I've been framed.
Let's talk about you guys' weeks though. You guys saw some concerts.
Yeah, we saw some concerts. So we went to 2 different days of RTJX, not together.
Yes.
I went night 3. You went night 4.
Yes.
You have never seen them before. I'm dying to hear what you think.
It was really good. I really like how LP's signature move is that he spins around.
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny.
Did they come out to We Are the Champions?
No, they did not.
Oh, wow. They've done it the 2 times I've seen them. They both came out to We Are the Champions.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, it's a stunt.
Yeah, no, it was an experience though. It was a good show.
Yeah. So I loved it. I cried when.
Oh, really?
I love Run the Jewels 3. They did a bunch of songs that they have performed like 3 times. They were like, yeah, you guys are getting the tracks that we've done like the least.
Okay.
Like they were like messing it up. like
really?
They were messing it up, and they would start this whole ass song over.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wild.
One of my favorite was did Killer Mike do a bit where he did the intro to the wrong song and LP had to stop him?
No.
Okay, so that was real.
Jesus.
He did a song and he was like, "This is for the ladies," and LP had to physically grab him and be like, "Mike, that's not this song. Like, we believe in that, but that's not this song."
So they did do a For the Ladies song,
Don't do the wrong
but they
song.
didn't have a mess up. Yeah, it was just like they just did
that,
it.
Yeah. And then
That's
they did the exact same thing like 3 songs later. Like they let him do his thing. Killer Mike sang a song about how it's okay to let kids smoke a little weed. Like
kids can have little weed as a treat.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
weed.
that.
It was like, I think my favorite thing was that I was close enough to see like the balconies to like the side of the stage, and you could see Killer Mike's wife up there taking selfies the whole time.
Yeah,
That's
she was
cool.
there for was there for ours too. Yeah, up on the right.
Yeah,
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, but it was awesome. They did basically the whole album from front to back. They did every single song. Then they came out and did a whole other set. Like it was a small set, but then they did a whole other set. I assume they did the same thing for you. They did all of Run the Jewels 4.
Yeah, so they did Run the Jewels 4 pretty much just all the way through.
Yeah.
And then they did the songs that I actually know, which was great.
Yeah. They do Close Your Eyes.
They did.
Yeah. Close Your Eyes.
That went hard.
Close Your Eyes is a must see like live, in my opinion.
Yeah. I never saw LP spin so fast before. Dude. I thought he was doing it the rest of the night, and he was just like dancing back and forth the entire length of the stage, just like pirouetting.
Yeah. What did you think of the Salt Shed?
It's great. I liked that venue a lot.
I liked it a lot. Getting out was not hard, but kind of scary. Like,
yeah, I mean,
they definitely there's definitely a choke point, and it's like there's like only like one hallway, but like we got through it in the length of the song "One Train" by A$AP Rocky. They were playing it, and I was like, I could tell that by the time Big Crit came on, we were out of the crowd. So it was like,
yeah, no, it was very reasonable.
Yeah.
Parking also was not like a nightmare.
No, it was very. It was harder. We drove.
It was actually,
too.
Yeah, it was actually harder for me to get out that night than the following Sunday when I was there for another event that we're going to discuss in a minute.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
I had different location parking. Like I was in a different lot, which was nice.
Oh yeah, because like we were in like one of the like it was. I mean, not expensive. It was like $40, which is like
that's pretty par for the course at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I hear $40 for a festival. I'm like, that sounds right. I hear $40 for an event. I'm like,
sacrilege.
I'm not here all day. But I love the venue. I love the energy they brought to it. We're gonna be back there in a week and a half. It's great. I also like
in a week and a half.
Thundercat.
Oh, that's at the Salt Shed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Bet.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to go there. I just haven't been able to. Daniel Caesar was there. The fucking fee was $40. I didn't want to pay it. So like I've been waiting to go there.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually excited. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, we got tickets for the Salt Shed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic performance. I was so happy to see them. I got to meet Killer Mike the next day. It's already like mounted, but I got a signed copy of Killer Mike's Michael.
I already know what Jasper's gonna ask. That's just no.
No, they weren't. They were
They
not
didn't
letting you bring in anything to sign, and
Damn.
specifically nothing Run the Jewels.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, they said apparently it sounded like that was like a record store thing, because Killer Mike was certainly talking to everyone about Run the Jewels. Like he was certainly like very chill about people bringing it up. So I have a hard time believing it was him.
Man.
I would have waited outside.
Yeah.
Facts, yeah.
But the only thing that made me upset was I went with my buddy Matt. Shout out Matt Coyle. And I was kind of dripped out. I was wearing like, the two-tone tuxedo jeans, jean jacket. I had the tour merch from RTJX. And I was like sick. And I had the chain and everything. And I go up and like my buddy goes and he just has like a red t-shirt on and like a Hawaiian shirt with like cartoon characters. And when we go up, Killer Mike is like, I love your fucking shirt. That shirt's so cool. I love that shirt. To my buddy Matt. Like,
I'm literally wearing your shirt.
That's so fucking funny.
like,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Real though.
And he did confirm he made this album, so everyone knew he was the GOAT.
Well,
There it is.
What I said. So
it's really dope.
Yeah,
Meet
no.
your heroes.
it was great. Yeah, no, this was absolutely a great example. I've had my feelings about Killer Mike, but this was an absolutely best example of meeting your heroes. 10 out of 10. Liked meeting Killer Mike.
Did you get a selfie?
No, he wasn't taking any pictures.
Damn. Couldn't let you do
It
anything.
was very fast. It was very fast in and out. He was the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And like all the stuff, and like he was happy to like sign multiple things, but the
Yeah.
record store was only letting you bring up like the things you could buy there. Everything was like pretty reasonably priced. Like I got
What record store was this again?
Sugar in Ricker Park.
Huh. I've
Yeah.
definitely been by. I haven't been
Yeah,
in.
dude, they had some excellent selections. They had an unreleased Frank Ocean vinyl for $250. They had
Sheesh.
Blonde for $100.
Sheesh.
That's
Yeah.
not bad.
No, that's not bad.
Those flip.
Yeah. They had all 3 saturation vinyls. They had.
Nice.
Oh fuck! I still got to go there. I have Run the Jewels too. I have to pick up. Yeah. So.
They can order it or something?
Yeah. No. I ordered it. I was gonna have them sign it, but then they wouldn't give it to me for some reason. And then they were like, "Oh, come back." But then it was under my buddy's name, so I'm gonna actually text him when I'm done with this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Out of rules.
But yeah,
So,
no, RTJX, great weekend, great Run the Jewels themed weekend. I did wear the shoes. I was the only person wearing, well, me and Jeff are the only people wearing the sneakers there. And they are still in very nice condition.
Hell
and
yeah.
I am happy they were worn in the battle.
I gotta say, there was I feel like there was a very specific demographic.
Oh,
at
it was the
Run Jewels
whitest
show.
concert I've ever been to. It was
That,
Really?
but also everyone was like 30 plus, all very white guys who look like they work at craft breweries. Like
Yeah.
that was the entire crowd. Was just that.
this was the
Yep.
only show I've been to that was whiter than Run the Jewel. This sport Run the Jewels was Sunday service.
Damn.
Yeah.
The Sunday service I went to was not that white.
Yeah. But
Huh.
but yeah, no, this is Rachel's theory was that it was because all those guys think they're LP and they think they're that cool around black people. And
It's accurate.
yeah, and she was like, "But you have Purvis, so you're good." And I'm like, "Sick, thank you." Like,
Damn.
You can always just rock your Cuban side. You'll be fine.
what you mean, man?
Okay. Jasper, tell us about Lyrical Lemonade.
Yeah, so I thought that Saturday night was eventful, and then Sunday rolled around, and I had the chance to go to the Lyrical Lemonade 10-year anniversary concert, which
Yeah.
was also at Salt Shed, and we attended Summer Smash this summer. We smashed. It was shut up, Purvis. Not what I meant. But basically, we went. It was 4 hours. It was 4 hours of nonstop music. I was really surprised.
Wow.
And I was sitting. It was interesting. It was a very different dynamic to everything that happened at just the night before. So like, I felt like a younger person at Run the Jewels. I was definitely one of the older people at this event.
Makes
And
sense.
you know, my knees, my back, whatever. So you could really tell. We started out sitting in like so behind the actual standing area at Salt Shed, there's seating, and it goes up kind of almost like stadium seating, but it's like a little narrower. So we started out sitting, and then I had a pass for the balconies on the side. So we wound up going in. Like I wound up getting a really nice spot in the balcony where I filmed, got some footage, whatever. It was really interesting. There were a lot of artists who have done work with Lyrical who I had never listened to, never knew about. They're just smaller artists, popular with a younger crowd. So I put together a list of the artists who I saw, who I just
Can I guess?
don't know. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm thinking Lyrical Lemonade. So I'm assuming Ski Mask was there.
Yeah,
Ski Mask
that's a big
was the biggest act and also
Okay.
the closer. Yeah.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
Little
Ski Mask
Skies.
sounds great.
Little Skies was there. He was
Okay.
towards the end as well.
Let me see, because Ski Mask is the biggest. I gotta
Tribe.
think. Really?
Well, hold on. I will say, I don't know if Ski Mask is technically the biggest, but with this particular crowd, he was definitely like the biggest of like the acts in terms of popularity.
So like,
Except for
Trippie
like
Red's
one other
bigger than him.
person. Yes, Trippie Red is bigger. Trippie Red
Okay.
was not there.
I just wanted to make sure like we had the same mental.
Was it Glorilla?
Glorilla was not there. No.
Smoke Perk.
Nope.
Interesting. Comethazine.
Nope.
Hold on, I just want to do one more guess. I feel like I'm gonna pull something out. Who else do I want to guess? Wi-Fi's funeral. He just dropped something. Was he there? Damn it. Okay. Who was there?
So, in order of appearance from when I saw them, and I think this is everybody. I might be missing somebody whose name I couldn't find. This is just the order that I saw looking online. Young Pinch, who I'd never heard before.
Sick.
Love one of them.
Landon Cube, who apparently is
I know him.
Known. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lil B, Bass God.
That's
what
sick.
the
Love
heck?
that. Love that.
We saw Swag Like Ohio live. That was something I didn't know I needed.
He still makes music. That's crazy.
It was great. It was great. Like,
he was?
See,
Yeah,
actually,
he was at Summer Smash. We just missed him.
And actually seeing him live was nice.
I don't doubt it. That sounds great.
Following that, it was Brandon's boy, BLP Kosher.
I do like.
Oh,
BLP
nice.
BLP Kosher would be
respect.
He was really good, but I will say his set was pretty low energy. I don't know if he was like under the weather. He was just chill.
Interesting.
Like, he just kind of walked around
I
stage.
I can get that vibe.
Yeah.
As much as I did actually like his album that dropped this year,
Yeah.
I definitely do not doubt that.
He like rapped a lot, but he wasn't like super high energy. And then later in the night, he was up in the stands, like pretty much like down the row from me. And people were like calling out, like yelling shit from downstairs on the floor, and he was just like not really engaging with the fans and stuff. Maybe he was under the weather, or he just wasn't feeling it. But like he was just kind of low energy.
Yeah.
Next was everybody's favorite, Babytron.
Jesus.
Then Young Bands, who I was not familiar with.
I've heard of them.
Sofago came out next.
Ooh,
I've seen some.
Crowd went crazy for Sofago.
That's a big one.
And Purvis, I think I actually texted you about that. I was like, this crowd is crazier for Sofago than I don't know if you're getting my text or not or whatever, but
I think I do.
Yeah,
that,
it was pretty intense. And then my highlight of the night, Famous Dex.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Famous Dex, I had never seen live. What a performance! He was going crazy, dancing, throwing shit into the crowd, jumping down and getting into the crowd to like sing and do it. He like actually jumped in and crowd surfed and all this other stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah. I think he was at Summer Smash actually.
Yeah, he was. We just missed him.
Yeah.
Famous Dex. It was tough though. Tough act to follow. But next up was G Herbo.
Wow.
Yeah, G Herbo was there.
Didn't think G Herbo would be there.
That was the point where the crowd was the craziest in terms of like crush. So I was up on the side. The stage was basically like all right here. I could see the entire length of the stage, and the crowd was all here. And I could basically just see like the motion of people just pressing up. And so, yeah, it was crazy. He did a really good set. He's really interesting because he will perform a song that he's featured on, but do the whole let the whole song go and just like not. Just like drink water or some shit waiting for his part, which is really interesting. I've never seen another artist do that, so that was kind of cool.
It still blows my mind that he's in this group. I just think of G Herbo so much differently from the rest of these people.
So that's what I was saying is like technically Ski Mask would be the most popular with like what I associate with this group because X and Juice WRLD and all that.
I see what you mean.
But G Herbo was there and was also extremely popular.
That's the biggest name, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a bigger name, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, like with this crowd at least.
Yeah.
After that, Lil Skies came on, and he actually brought Landon Q back out, and Cole Bennett was on stage with them too, just like hanging out, doing their thing, having fun.
That's cool.
Then DJ Scheme came out after that.
I've heard of him.
I wasn't like super familiar with, but he came out and kind of partnered Ski Mask, and then Ski Mask was the closer. And they actually played. Cole came out on stage with Ski Mask at the beginning and like introduced him, whatever, and then they played and kind of did part of the new opening track off of the upcoming lyrical group album, which is coming.
Oh yeah,
for the 10-year anniversary.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. That was some of the footage I put on the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so super interesting.
That sounds like a hell of a show. But
really
that's
good
show.
show.
For 10 year, like a 10-year anniversary of a label.
Yeah, but honestly, the wildest part of all of it was actually after the music was done. So I don't know if you all saw this. Basically, so the box that I was in, was like there was a bit of back and forth. It was like there's like an elevated box on the very side of the stage, and that's where like a bunch of industry people were, friends and family for Cole and the rest of the lyrical team. And then next to that was the box I was in. And later on in the night, after the whole introduction with Ski Mask and everything, Cole came back up and was hanging out. So it was just like he was in the very front row. I was in the second row off to the right. And I was filming, and he's just like doing his thing, whatever. And then at the end of the night, the lights start coming up, and people start seeing him on this balcony, and they're like yelling, freaking out, all these kids, whatever.
Yeah.
And he at this point, like more people have kind of trickled into the box, and he is like waving to the crowd, whatever. And then he gets the idea that he wants to jump off the balcony into the crowd. And he starts trying to do it. And I'm there with some people, and there's like other people nearby. Some people are like, do it. Other people are like trying to pull him back, whatever. It was kind of scary. It was like he definitely seemed like he was in the mode of like, this is like my thing. I can do whatever I want. Like it's exciting. It was pretty scary. So like he's going back and forth. Security gets involved, and it's like basically almost a fight breaks out like in this box, and it was like slippery. There were like spilled drinks, whatever. He winds up getting free, and he jumped off the fucking balcony into the crowd.
Jesus Christ!
And no one was hurt. Somehow, no one was hurt. I was blown away. But this happened 3 feet in front of me. I was like out of the way, trying not. I was like, I'm not gonna grab him. I don't know him like that.
No.
Like there's been shared space before, but I'm not going to get involved unless I get
Right.
asked to get involved.
He does not know my name, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't remember it, but yes.
Yes.
But basically, like, yeah, it was a scary kind of situation. And apparently there was like a whole other plan for the end of the night with like some kind of other celebration that never happened because he dove off into the crowd. And he made it. He was fine, whatever. Nobody he landed on got hurt. There's video footage of it. There was one video that I think got deleted that you can actually see me like up in the very far corner of the frame, because like the top of the balcony and the frame's like up here. And it was just like absolutely insane and chaotic and just very adrenaline inducing. That was like, I don't know. I have yet to go to a lyrical show where I don't feel like there's danger at least once. Right.
Well, that you got to think about the crowd. It just kind of makes.
I know. But I was not expecting that being up there. It was this, and then when we were at Summer Smash, being in the Cuddy crowd when all those fights were breaking out like all around us, I was like, this doesn't feel that great.
Yeah. No, it was.
Let's say the Kid Cudi show, you had took off, and Brendan and I looked at each other just like, I'm not chasing him. Because like you kept going closer and closer to the stage. And I was
kind of like going around it. I wasn't like really going towards. We were on the very far side, and I was trying to make like a semicircle. But yeah, it was really intense. The footage of the jump is wild. It's out there, and I got a really cool picture of him like above the crowd, kind of. That I think I put on the story. That was really nice, like a wide angle shot. That was really like a cool thing to see. So yeah. It was a hell of an event. I was like pretty impressed by the music, but then like everything that happened afterwards made it like a pretty iconic night in hindsight.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're gonna live it all over again next Summer Smash.
Yeah, hopefully without jumping off anything. Goddamn.
Or we do the jumping this time.
I am not the one in danger.
We should,
I am the danger.
We should wingsuit off the Holiday Inn. Like,
human bowling ball. Stop it. This man said the Holiday Inn. Get the fuck out of here.
Whatever.
Remember, no Russian.
Okay.
Yeah, remember, no Russian. Like, we should just wingsuit in.
Look, no, we can only do one Call of Duty reference in an episode.
Too late.
Oh
Absolutely not.
I'm about to get the Modern Warfare 2 level up noise and save it as a soundboard effect for this exact moment.
I hate you. All right. Shall we get to the vibe?
Into the topic of the week. But yeah, I mentioned it earlier. We decided to deep dive into Freudian by Daniel Caesar. Jasper's over there dying.
Goddamn.
He's lost it. We finally broke him. It took I don't know how many episodes, but we broke him.
There's several.
But
lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce. But yeah, essentially this week, last year, I did a gospel album. Because I knew Brandon and I have had discussions about like just being around gospel music and seeing the live performance. But this year I decided to do R&B specifically because I know Jasper has mentioned that he hasn't really listened to too much R&B. He's been around the sounds as it naturally has been in other genres, and I know you love Frank Ocean specifically.
Correct.
But I wanted to find like an artist that both of you could kind of dive into, and I've been nagging Brandon to listen to Daniel Caesar's new album that released this year for months. So I said, why not force them to listen to Daniel Caesar?
Yeah, he saw his
Surely
move and he
nothing
made
can
it.
be wrong.
He saw his move and he made it. It's a fair move. It's a fair move.
It worked.
I gave him Switch Up September. I set it up, but it was.
Is this what bullying feels like?
Look, it was either this or I used my black card. So big
Hey,
one.
yo, hey.
Whoa.
But we decided to listen to the debut album released by him. I believe it is platinum now, actually. So it is very successful, very popular. I am shocked that neither one of you have heard about it. But let's just jump into it. What are you guys' background with Daniel Caesar?
Not much. I had never been around someone who talked about Daniel Caesar as much as you have, and the people who did, like, because this came out in what, 2017?
This album specifically was 2017. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, like it was right when I was coming out of college. And like, I only ever heard people kind of describe him as kind of lame, which isn't fair. This is not a take I would have after listening to this album, but like there was just never any energy there. Like anyone in my circles, like everyone kind of like was like, oh yeah, it's cool. And I have a theory as to why, which I don't think he deserves. I don't think he deserves that reaction.
Okay.
But that is the reaction I've gotten. The only person who really, really talked my ear off about it was you.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that going into that, I kind of had an idea because like I knew some Daniel Caesar songs, especially stuff off the new album, but like I haven't dived into. This is my first like album proper.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
So yeah.
And Jasper, did you have any background with Daniel Caesar? Do you even know the name before?
I know I did, and then I remember the noise that Never Enough made when it came out, and people being kind of excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Freudian I didn't listen to, but going through and seeing the different names of the songs, I think some of these came up in my recommended or something, because I definitely have like stumbled onto some of these before.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
No, that makes sense. That was actually one of the things I was going to mention. I feel like, at least Spotify, because I know we're on Spotify, it does a pretty good job at tying in the R&B artists that are like popular. Just because I think as a genre right now, it's not, in terms of like the popular people that are blowing up, it's kind of a smaller circle in general. Like we all know the main big names, and you have to kind of be in the know to know the rest of the people, even though they are just as deserving. It's just not a genre that has a lot of big names that just spread out from there. So what do you guys like comfort level? Because like I understand this is the first time listening to Daniel Caesar, but like the R&B sound is not unfamiliar to you guys.
No. R&B was like my first favorite genre of music when I was like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like I've been listening to like, granted, not like the biggest scope, but like I've been listening to R&B basically my whole life. You know, I don't think it has ever, except for like maybe some in the last few years as an adult, I don't think it has ever been like the genre I listen to the most.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically always a part of my listening routine with some element of R&B. Right. So I felt very comfortable jumping into this. Like I kind of had an idea of like what it would be, because like I was very heavy still am very heavy into like the whole alt R&B thing. You know, like that whole sector of the genre that like has like The Weeknd and Frank Ocean and Miguel and like other, you know, artists that like
Brett Faiyaz, etc.
Yeah, Brett Faiyaz is a good example. And yeah, it appears from my opinion, from my perspective, that I think Daniel Caesar definitely seems to be like not doing that. He seems to be doing like a very classic R&B sound. And I think that's like why it hasn't gotten to me, because it's just not in that like that current of R&B that I listen to a lot, right?
Absolutely. That was one reason I specifically chose Daniel Caesar, because I feel like, don't get me wrong, I love alternative R&B, but I feel like that subgenre basically dominates the whole genre now.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, especially nowadays. And back then, like you said, when we were growing up with our parents, R&B was considered the popular genre.
Yeah.
Or one of the popular genres, I would say.
It always has been. Yeah. It
exactly.
always has been like one of the highest selling genres, like ever since the 50s and 60s.
Right. And so how they consumed it in the messages that were kind of spread throughout this, essentially this expression of love, which is the running topic that's within almost all of R&B. It's kind of how they kind of perceive love. It might have been a little bit different back then. And I feel like a lot of the alternative R&B we get nowadays, I love it. I have nothing against it, but is a cloud of toxicity that is within essentially every artist that we just named. The Weeknd, Brett Faiyaz, Future's R&B, Lucky Day.
What'd you call Future R&B?
The one album.
Okay.
His one album. But
Party Next
essentially,
Door.
Yeah, exactly. Even Drake himself.
As Drake definitely has a stake in that subgenre.
Right.
You know,
so
SZA, who I think like very much falls into alternative R&B, even though she's a woman.
Right. And I feel like the only ones that kind of stick out to me right now is Daniel Caesar, Ari Lennox.
Yeah, she's the other like
Smino. Exactly.
Smino, I feel like is a very like Smino is R&B the same way The Weeknd's last album is house music. I feel like it's very influenced by R&B, but it is very definitively not.
Not traditional R&B.
Yeah, it's not. Sure. Yeah, I don't think it's R&B at all. But I think like it's very clearly influenced by it a lot.
Right.
And then Ari Lennox is the only. She's probably the biggest touchstone I have right now to like artists that are like a traditional R&B.
Like R&B.
Absolutely. R&B. Yeah.
For sure.
And it was. I gotta say, I really enjoyed like diving back into like this classic sound. Like one of my favorite albums of all time is D'Angelo's Brown Sugar. And like,
dude, I was thinking about doing that.
Dude, that's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like that was, I gotta be honest. Like if it wasn't for the fact that like Switch Ups and Never lines up with Riot Fest, so therefore biases me towards like rock genres, I would have done D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, because that is one of my favorite albums of all time. And like, it does seem like R&B, like the more traditional, they just like play with different palettes, right? A lot of like the end product is like very similar because of like the lyricism and like the singing style, but the music palette is very different. And it was nice to hear like those strings and like the guitar work. The guitar work all over this album is really fun to listen to. And like, you know, the B in R&B stands for blues, and like
said it, I think early in the week.
Guitar is like the soul of the blues, you know, and it kind of always has been. So yeah, no, I have a lot of experience with R&B. I knew what to expect, and I don't think my expectations steered me wrong. I didn't expect it to be so thorough.
Interesting.
Right? I don't want to use the word deep.
Okay.
Because, not that this is a criticism, because I feel like an album does not need to be conceptual, but like one of the questions you have on here about the title, right? Like, I don't think it's like a particularly, you know, I just think that was like a name. Like, I don't think like there was any like, I listened to this album 3.5 times. I did not pick up any cohesive theme, you know, but like that doesn't mean that like the music itself is not like thought through, has so many small touches, so many like small like string accompaniments, so many small like you don't even realize this chord arrangement is in the background, and so it starts to grow under his voice, right? Like I really think they went all out for this. So yeah, I can see like why you've been recommending
it. Yes, absolutely. Jasper.
Yes. Yeah, when I started out, I don't know. It's interesting because I definitely at the beginning of the album felt that it wore a lot of contemporary kind of influences or popular sounds on its sleeve through a couple of tracks. And then as it progressed, I thought that it got a little more maybe traditional or more in the vein of what I was kind of expecting. I gotta say, like, best part and Hold Me Down, instrument wise, they sound like Frank Ocean tracks. Like Hold Me Down could have been an extra cut from Blonde. Like that
Yeah.
guitar, that's very spacey guitar, totally.
Yeah, there's a few sections on it. I think a lot of it has like a more traditional R&B palette, but there's a few sections on it where he lets himself get almost like a little experimental, a little playful, I think he does a great job at sticking on theme, right? Because like I think like my mind does not go immediately to Frank Ocean just because like I have more
for sure
touch points. Like my mind really went to D'Angelo on everything, which like D'Angelo was thanked on Blonde, so like there's like lineage there too.
Yeah, my touch points are Frank Ocean, Marvin Gaye, and a little bit in the middle, and that's it. So like, yeah, not definitely
got a little bit of The Weeknd now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, The Weeknd, but I mean middle, like some '90s stuff. Like I know a little bit of '90s stuff just from like exposure through, 90s rap. So, yeah, and there were just certain things about like the way certain things were laid out or stylistic choices. The end of Freudian really struck me as very, very kind of Frank-esque as well. The way
Futura Free or whatever.
Yeah, it sounds like Futura Free, where he has the voice come in distorted, but then around the halfway point it cuts to silence and then comes back with a recording. That's exactly like the end of Futura Free, where it's like the "What is your name" recording off of that track. So I thought that was kind of interesting, like some kind of maybe like a little play on it almost.
Oh yeah, and he even opened up in the interview about that. He was kind of saying one of the influence because Blonde was literally the year before this.
Yeah,
so it just makes sense.
Yeah, I would say Loose through Transform was really, to me, very interesting in the way that it just kind of it stayed very on brand. It managed to, I think, kind of stand against a lot of the more like conventional elements of R&B that I associate with the genre. Not being super familiar, but just like what I know of it, and really kind of still feel unique. That's the thing, right? It's like, how do you stand out in a genre that's so populous? So like I think in a lot of ways very saturated with different sounds, and make something new while conveying potentially a lot of the same messaging or messages, because thematically a lot of that music shares a lot of common ground, right? It's like rap. How many times can you write a song about how nice your watch is, or what kind of car you drive, things like that. So yeah, I think it did a good job of differentiating itself in that way. And musically, it becomes, I think, a little more traditional in a sense, as far as my understanding goes. But then, yeah, it still stands out in that way.
No, it's true, and I think what he has, like, what benefits him in particular is, like we mentioned before, there's not a lot of the classic R&B in our circles nowadays. So the fact that he can bring that back with a new perspective from a 2017 view, I feel like some things that I have come across being difficult. I was doing some research on the album, and it focuses on how in the 90s R&B was like the obsession R&B. Most of the lyrics and the messages was like, I'm obsessing about like this girl, like I'm longing for her. And sometimes I don't relate that in the way they used to actually communicate that. And I feel like he does a good job at bringing a newer perspective to like how we look at love compared to before, because we just develop it so much differently with technology and stuff like that. But I guess another thing, just your thoughts on R&B right now, in terms of where it's sitting at, having the opportunity to listen to a genre that stands out in a 2020 something. Do you think R&B is in a good place right now? Are you comfortable with R&B being the lead? Do you think there should be more classical R&B in the
Yeah,
out right now?
I think like the the idea of like, oh, how is R&B doing right now? Like, I think yeah, it all depends on your opinion on alternative R&B. Like, if you're someone who thinks like that is like a perversion of it, which a lot of people do, and
Hmm.
like sometimes they have good points and sometimes they don't. But you're probably not very happy about that right now. Whereas I like alternative R&B. I definitely think it is too ubiquitous. I definitely think stuff like this is a breath of fresh air,
Hmm.
and I want more of it. But I think R&B is like in a pretty good spot. I think like you have SZA, who is like an R&B artist, like to her core. She dropped like the biggest album of the year, like
Oh yeah.
so. I think in some ways it's bigger than ever. I think in some ways like it's changed so much. Um, I think like there's a huge question like what has changed more since the '90s, like hip hop or R&B. Uh,
True.
and but at the same time, like I don't think anything that is coming out now, the alternative stuff, I don't think that's like a bad thing. So I think it's in a good spot,
Hmm.
right? I want more of this. That's what I want out of R&B.
Okay.
But I don't think it's in a bad spot.
I get that. Don't take away the alternative, but increase the classic and
Yeah,
kind of get
that's
picked.
kind of like how I would feel about it. And like, you have like artists like The Weeknd are moving away from it. Frank Ocean hasn't dropped an album since
It's true.
Obama was in office. Like
Man, why'd you have to put it that way?
like
When I was
so
happy.
yeah. So
No, I get that. Jasper, do you have any thoughts on that? Are you comfortable where R&B is?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a genre that I think, because I'm only necessarily exposed to it kind of adjacent to my primary genre that I consume.
Mm,
I think that the elements that get pulled from it, or the artists that cross over into my primary genre, rap or hip hop, um, I like what I hear. I think that there's a lot of new and emerging sound, and I think that it's interesting to see the boundaries of a genre be pushed in this way, in a way that is not necessarily at the forefront of pop culture, the way something like
mm,
rap is, right? Because you see, we were just talking J. Cole versus NBA YoungBoy, and before that, it was like Eminem versus Everybody New, and like all this other stuff of like old school versus new school, and it's very publicized because it's the dominant pop culture genre. But I feel like in this context, it's interesting to see this kind of play out more quietly.
mm.
I mean, seeing The Weeknd at number one tells you all you need to know. I feel like
yeah.
in that vein, but yeah, I think that's super interesting. Like I just went and I was looking up R&B on Spotify right now, and Renaissance is listed under there, which
Yep.
I think is interesting because of just
Yeah.
like how far that strays, or how far that walks away from what we associate with being traditional in the genre, and how this is basically like, there's like dance music on this. Like,
Mm.
Yeah.
There's
yeah, it's interesting seeing
Yeah.
that fusion, and what then becomes kind of folded into the genre in that way.
Yeah.
because in my personal opinion, the reason I enjoy where R&B is at right now in 2023 is the fact that in my personal opinion, I feel like it is the most flexible genre that you can actually use
Yeah.
because R&B just naturally goes into so many other genres without even trying.
Hmm.
And so I feel like the elements that we see in other music, typically what we digest in hip hop, might be where we get such a strong alternative R&B from because of the topics that
Yeah.
flow in from hip hop.
Yeah. That
But
is absolutely a factor in like
exactly.
how I've arrived here. 100%.
Yep.
That is yeah.
So I just feel like I am okay with where it's at right now because it naturally is going to flow with wherever it's going. If there's other movements going on, if there's other genres coming back, I know rock is coming back. We're going to get something like a Teasel Touchdown. It might need to be
No.
sharpened and fine tuned, but we're going to have a real rock and R&B album
Yeah.
and have it be
And
successful.
and to be honest with you, I think that's going to be a lot more successful than like rock hip hop crossover.
Oh
Because
yeah,
like
absolutely.
rock and R&B use the same instruments. You know, like they are kind of like very fundamentally made of the same stuff. You know,
It's true. And it actually just comes together there.
Yeah.
And I guess as we talk about it blending with other genres, I feel like it's so easy for R&B to go into other genres. What other genres did you pick up in this album?
I mean, there's a lot of gospel, right? Like, there's more than just the
Totally.
second half of Hold Me Down. Like, there's a lot of gospel influence throughout this whole thing. I ain't mad at it by one stretch. Like, we disagree about a lot of things, but not song structure, right? Like,
It's
not
true.
harmony.
It's true.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of gospel in here. There's also a little bit of funk, and that's a genre I want pulled more into R&B is funk. Because one, it's like one of the most technically complex genres there is, which like people forget about. I think it is like also like a super flexible genre. So yeah, I want, funk is on everything from like Primus albums to Pimp a Butterfly. So it's like, and there is little bits of it. So like, I do like that it feels like this is very stapled down like in the R&B sound, but I like that he's allowing himself to experiment with, funk sounds, gospel sounds. Gospel sounds are kind of completely all the way through it. There's also some stuff that sounds very singer-songwriter to me. That sounds maybe, you're going to fucking hate this, but maybe closer to a John Mayer than like a D'Angelo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's just other genres that like we just don't see mixed with R&B that often that I think are a lot more conducive. So yeah, I'd like to see I liked seeing the other sounds he brought
in. Jasper, did you catch any other genres at all?
I think that's pretty much perfect. I mean, I did pick up on a lot of gospel, especially some of the vocal arrangements. I think New Roses kind of really has a lot of that flair on it. Other than that,
it does very much feel like an album that is like trying to be classic uncut R&B as much as it can, right? It's not that there are no elements of other genres, he has best part has like a lot of pop influence and a little bit of rock like arrangement because you have her on there playing so much guitar. You have Blessed, which is low-key my favorite song on the album, but like it's very, I loved Blessed. Blessed is very good. And then you have Freudian, which is like kind of art housey to me, like not completely like alt R&B or like Frank Ocean alt R&B, because I feel like his like kind of his take on alt R&B is kind of like more art house R&B. Frank is not the same as like Miguel and The Weeknd, in my opinion. Like they are in the sense that they are alternative R&B, but different flavors of it, in my opinion. But yeah,
I definitely agree.
To me, this definitely just felt like a good hard drink of just like the classic rhythm and blues, and I think that's what I appreciated about it. And I think for me, as like a complete project, it just like it almost crosses into like that threshold that you get at like really, really special projects. To me, it's like, the difference between a 9 and a 10 is probably nothing when it comes to like technical. It's all about how does it hit you.
That is true.
It's the ineffable part of art that just can't be quantified, right? And it just didn't quite do that to me. But as far as something that I could just put on and like listen to easily and enjoy, and also like put on and like dissect and think very critically and like think about how I'm feeling and like listen to like all the little parts. It's also very rewarding in that part. I don't know how often I'm just gonna like subconsciously put on Daniel Caesar, but like it was a very rewarding experience.
Oh yeah, and that's actually one thing that I was going to touch on as well, because I feel like depending on where your mind state is at or what you're thinking about at the time or going through in life, I feel like emotions do play into it a lot.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I feel like where my mental state is at matters so much more when I listen to R&B. than like another genre, in my opinion. I can turn on hip hop and be completely brain dead. I feel like, but when I listen to R&B, I actually have to be in that mental state, and it just amplifies it. It makes it so much better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I guess we could do a track list then.
Yeah, let's go through the track list.
Yeah.
Purvis, you said one of these was a wedding staple. Which one is it?
If I'm being honest, both Get You and Best Part, I believe, is a wedding staple.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, it just kind of lines up. I don't know if you caught on to all the themes that happen throughout the album, but the first two is literally just about like just falling in love, like loving love itself.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like falling in love is like just such a bread and butter topic for R&B. I feel like theme is like kind of generous, right? I don't think you can ever use it as a point against the song. I don't think you can ever be like, oh, this is just about love. It's like, well, that's what the genre is about. So it's like, you know, I think though I think theme is a bit heavy though, because and that to me is just like something I think a lot of these songs are like really well conceptualized, and they're loaded with meaning, but I don't really see much of a through line through them.
I guess I should clarify them, because I do agree with that. Maybe theme is the wrong word, but in terms of like breaking down this album and how a lot of people like view the actual structure of the songs, the first two is supposed to be like the puppy love, like focusing on all the good parts about it. So yeah, your Get You and Best Part are the wedding staples. I've heard them at several weddings already. But then you get to Hold Me Down. And Hold Me Down is kind of like breaking down where a relationship starts to fall apart. So did you guys like Hold Me Down?
I liked Hold Me Down a lot musically. Like I loved Hold Me Down is probably the other like favorite song of the album.
Hold Me Down is my personal favorite as well, if I'm being honest. Yeah. And it does have that Kirk Franklin piece at the end.
Yeah, that's very, very gospel-y. And like, listen, I'm not mad at it because like I enjoyed it going through. It's just you almost did that one last year. Like
this is me playing my cards right. I have a perfect hand. And that goes into New Roses. So this is the first song that actually does touch on kind of toxic actions. It's about cheating and just like being a cheater and being caught in it.
Yeah.
So did you guys like this song?
I did. I think this is the closest thing to a miss for me. Just because of like this was like, so this album flows together a lot, right? And I've listened to this album 3.5 times. One of them was while I was running some errands, running to the pharmacy. One of them was when I was on a walk. And one of them was like while I was working. So I wasn't able to like look at all of them. Transgressors was one of them. And like, once again, it's not a bad song, but it just stuck out at me. I'm like, is this like some weird outro he's doing? Is this like some weird, you know,
it'll almost fit better as an interlude if it was short.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, once again, not bad by any stretch. Probably my least favorite song on the album, though.
Okay. And then that goes into Jasper. You mentioned there's a run of like between Loose all the way up to Transform. So like, what did you kind of see there?
I think there's a lot of play with classic R&B structure here. Just like the vocal styling, sliding around to reach different notes vocally in that way. That's like, I think, a very kind of staple technique. Yeah, he does it on, I think it's Take Me Away, where he just kind of like will rise up to meet a note without directly hitting it at the start of the word, for example. And the instrumentation, you know, there's a lot of instrumentation here that I think is a little more classically R&B than, say, Hold Me Down with that spacey guitar like we talked about.
For sure, absolutely.
Because you get like almost like you really do get that old school versus new school feel, and New Roses is kind of like the turning point, where the beginning is a little emptier, spacier. It feels kind of, it's like it's excited, but it's also distant, because maybe it's just like there's an unfamiliarity there that he's addressing as part of like the concept of the album, and like the whole like meeting someone, falling in love, that whole thing. But then out of that unfamiliarity comes a little bit of shakiness, but then you get into like a comfort level it seems. And it seems like the vocal performances and the instrumental performances both kind of exhibit that going into it. He feels more present in the other tracks where he's like a little more vocally ambitious, but also just is there's more layering. There's just more going on throughout those tracks.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah.
And then we get into We Find Love. So this is actually another one of the like popular songs in the album besides like the When
This one hits. This one hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a moment. I think like there are some that scratch like specific like R&B itches for me a lot harder than We Find Love, but this song hits. This is a great one. Like I like this one a lot.
I fully agree. We Find Love is one of my favorite ones as well. Just because sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I love the last four. I think are an incredible run.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the first two songs are like good, but like kind of like almost like feeling like mass produced. Like Hold Me Down's incredible. Transgressive songs good, but like kind of loses its step for me. I like Loose a lot. We Find Love incredible, and then Blessed from Freudian, like all hit for me like emotionally.
Perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
Because you said Blessed was your favorite, right?
Blessed was definitely my favorite, right? Like I think the gospel stuff is a little bit closer to the forefront. So it's dug its way already into the lyricism. And like like I just fucked with it. Like on a like one of those like can't describe it like ineffable parts of art. Like it just that was the song on this album that hit me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we kind of talked about like that period between all the way up to Transform, and then we get to the actual title
Freudian.
song.
And I gotta
It's the
say,
longest song.
in the because a lot of it's nothing. But I gotta say, especially in the streaming era, I appreciate an actual hidden track. Right? So many of my favorite albums, and like I get it because it makes sense and it doesn't actually ruin anything. But so many of my favorite albums have like just cut out the hidden track part and just made it its own track, right? I think Acid Rap was like the best one they did it because they still left all like the sound at the end of Push It Man, like on the 10-year. So it's like still
30-second.
Yeah, you still have the hidden track kind of vibe, but you can also skip straight to Paranoid. But yeah, no, like an actual hidden track, I appreciated quite muchly.
Oh yeah, like that.
So yeah, I think it ends really strong. I mean, I really like this last four songs, but of the four, Freudian's my least favorite.
Okay.
Right? I like them all. I think these are all top tier songs, but I like Transform a lot. I like Take Me Away a lot. Blessed is my favorite song on the album. Freudian's very good, both parts of it, but that's kind of just how I feel about that.
That's understandable, just because even the structure of the song alone, like you mentioned, most of it is kind of just silent. So there's a whole gap in between. Jasper, do you have any closing thoughts on this last song?
I think it's good. I think musically, it's I think the most experimental of the last half. Just given like where he goes with it, and also the kind of the backing vocals. The female vocalist on here really actually kind of reminds me of the opening of Awaken My Love, which I think is kind of cool. It's just like an interesting kind of here and there. It's like a little bit back and forth where she kind of, I guess, ebbs and flows would be the best way to describe it. I'm having a hard time like putting it to words, but yeah, there's definitely like a different, more experimental quality there. And then there is that gap. The end of the bonus track, or like the bonus track itself, I think is really interesting, just given like the way it slowly kind of leads in with that organ. I really like hearing that organ in there, just like it. Yeah. Again, wearing that influence on the sleeve, and almost in like a very classic sense. But yeah, other than that, I think it's good. I do think that I agree. Freudian of the last couple tracks is not my favorite. It's probably towards the bottom, just because it is a little out there in that way, and it's long, and obviously there's a gap, which in the era of streaming is a little inconvenient. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid effort, and I don't dislike anything about it.
Oh yeah, Okay, bet. Are you guys going to listen to the rest of Daniel Caesar's discography?
I'll listen to his album that came out this year because I've been hearing that it's so good. Like
Yeah, I'll listen to
literally,
that for sure.
like every
Right.
reviewer I give a shit about liked it. People in real life liked it, right? And to me, like that's the tension point. Like
Yeah.
if Fantano and people in my office both like an album, okay.
Clearly, I need to live.
Clearly, I need to listen, right? Like,
Absolutely.
so
Our
yeah,
boy
like
Danny C.
but I will say like I'm interested to like listen to more of him to like kind of triangulate his influence, right? Like it's just impossible to tell from one album. All I can tell is that how high quality this album is, like as a whole, right? And yeah, like I think it gets I'm going to be giving it an amazing grade, right? But I still don't know like what to expect from like a Daniel Caesar song. The same way like I know what to expect from everyone from fucking The Weeknd to Boyz II Men to Ari Lennox, right? Like I need to figure that out, right? And like maybe he doesn't, and maybe that's still okay. Like he certainly doesn't have to make great music, but I have a feeling he does have a couple things that kind of like identify him when you listen to more. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear what that is.
Oh yeah. All right. Should we do grades then?
Do we want to do grades?
Yeah, sure. We always do grades then. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'm giving this an A.
Okay.
Yeah, I this is totally an A for me. I was just on a critical level, just in love with this album, right? The only thing keeping it from the A+ was just like that raw emotional connection. It did not like just hit me and like slap the shit out of me.
Right.
It was simply an incredibly rewarding album.
Okay, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know you were gonna go that high. Yeah. I'm actually happy. Jasper, what's yours?
I give this a B+. I think that it's musically really good, very complete, and feels extremely polished for someone who is not, say, necessarily on the same level as Frank Ocean in terms of notoriety, career status, you know, pop culture, how far they penetrate like pop culture zeitgeist, all that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't necessarily have to be on that level to be there, and this definitely proves that. I will say a lot of the subject matter doesn't necessarily grab me in the same way that something like a Frank Ocean would, and that's just my point of comparison given like the way the album begins and sonically how it kind of compares. But yeah, I think it's a super solid album. This also isn't necessarily my primary genre or one that I harbor a ton of nostalgia for. So in that way, I think I'm also a little limited just in my own personal taste. But to my taste, it's a B+ for sure.
I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Purvis, tell us what you give it. Tell us,
give us the right answer, Purvis.
Yeah, tell us
what
wrong. Black people think. Like,
oh no,
you can say that because you have a girlfriend that's black.
No, I can't say that, and I have to make sure she doesn't watch this episode because she'll beat my ass.
Yeah, like, you're in trouble now. I'm gonna let her know. No, to be honest, my personal take, it is an A album to me. It is within my top 3 listened to R&B albums, at least from the new age, from when I was born. Obviously, Frank Ocean is one. This is 2, and then Sir, which is another person I was going to make y'all listen to, is 3. Yeah. So it's in my top 3, hands down. I've cried to probably half the songs in this album at some point in my life.
I know you have.
I've been on a beach at a wedding listening to Hold Me Down, and I cried. So, definitely one of my favorite albums to revisit. Cannot recommend it more for anyone that needs to find a new R&B song or album. But yeah, that's about all.
All right. Shall we round this out with recommendations?
Yes, sir.
All right. Purvis made me listen to Daniel Caesar this week, so I'm going to be annoying.
Okay.
I'm recommending Two Tone by Belly featuring Little Uzi Vert.
Let's go.
And you know what? I'm going to put this out here. One of my favorite things to find is like artists that like don't sound like they would go well together, and then they go amazing together. It's why I love Run the Jewels, right? It's just that. That's why I love Chance the Rapper and Action Bronson. I think they are a top tier collab. This right here, Belly and Little Uzi, top tier collab. I would
fine.
I would pay I would give a quart of blood to get
Okay.
to get this, a 6-song EP with the two of them. Like
That's just so unnecessary. Jasper, what's your recommended song?
I'm also going to be annoying.
Okay,
but this is actually this is not a reactionary thing. This song has been stuck in my head, in and out all week.
Okay.
And it's Yeet, Flawless, also featuring Lil Uzi Vert.
What is going on?
Dude, we should have Yeet and Belly fight. Like
honestly, hey, I mean,
I honestly don't know who would win that.
There actually was some Yeet news that we didn't cover. He is 2 weeks sober and working on new music. So
good for him.
Shit's gonna suck.
Yeah. hey, be nice.
Got drugs, I don't want it.
It's like whenever I remember when the internet saw a picture of The Weeknd smiling. It's like next album trash. Like
facts.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, just the way Flawless opens up. That track is iconic. I know that like Heroes and Villains with the lead in with Homelander got like a bunch of hype and heat and whatever. I think this is up there with like the meme intro with the, you know, money on my mind, you know, money on my hat, money on my mind, that whole thing going into that build up. And then Uzi's feature on this is great. Buffy the Vampire Slayer with these Cartiers. Stop it. Like, it's so good.
Is this produced by Benny X? I'm curious.
Yeah, of course it is. It's Eat. Everything is. Or almost
I'm working
everything.
on dying. That's all
yep, and those are Uzi's people. They're the ones who did Eternal Take and a lot of Eternal Take, and then also a lot of Love is Rage 2, if I remember right.
I love this pick.
So good. I love this song.
Full sin. Okay. I'm also gonna be annoying.
Let's go.
My second pick
Bo
is
Burnham
also
featuring
annoying.
Phoebe Bridgers.
My second pick is also annoying.
I literally took Brandon's 2 picks last week, listened to them, and then found similar songs that I love that are exact same.
I don't remember which ones they were.
The first one is Griselda. I'm gonna be doing Conway the Machine. Shoot Sideways. What a name! That's how you know you can aim.
Dude,
absolutely fantastic song.
I love that. I love that. All right, my next one, similar vein. It's not a Griselda song, but it's very close. I'm recommending "God Is Perfect" by Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemists off Alfredo. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
Banger.
I pray to Mecca.
Banger.
Banger. Frederick Gibbs, the patron saint of bars.
Father Frederick.
I love it. All right, Jasper.
This one is one that I only just learned about thanks to that lovely Lyrical Lemonade 10-year concert. It's Young Bands Riding featuring Landon Cube and YBN Namir.
Okay.
And this song, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I've heard an instrumental hook as good since Zeze, like the Kodak Black song.
Yeah.
The guitar that opens this up, just pull it up, listen to the first like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just like an absolute earworm.
Okay, bet. I'm glad to check this out. I feel like this is a TikTok song. Is it?
I don't know.
You're not on TikTok.
I don't know TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch Reels?
I have Reels. Yeah, I look at Reels.
Okay, so you destroy your attention span to be 2 weeks behind.
I mean,
get TikTok.
Yeah, get TikTok. Like,
I mean,
sell your soul.
Get
an iPhone.
We'll see.
Pledge fealty to the Chinese state.
I was gonna say I only just upgraded. We're doing S23 for the next 3 years, so you know.
Fine. Whatever.
That ship has sailed. We'll see.
You keep your Android. Get TikTok. No, just one. I'm gonna end it off with the Migos song, just like Brandon did. But this one might be older than Versace. I'm gonna do Handsome and Wealthy, an absolute slapper. The chorus on this song is amazing.
I almost recommended Handsome last week.
Two minds think alike. Two great minds. I love it.
My God.
All right.
All right, guys. This was an episode.
Thank you for letting me drag you guys through love music.
Oh no, that was fine. This was fine. All right. We're just gonna end it. Goodbye.